Sean Payton yesterday with some
we don't snitch on this show.
Very bold comments to Charles Robinson. Let's move on. To Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports, and we'll get to the Super Bowl prediction here in just a bit. But talking about Bo Nix and talking about the idea, quote, he's going to be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the league the next 2 years. That's what we're seeing right now. He doesn't take sacks. He's got exceptional arm strength. He threw the longest ball in terms of air yards against Cincinnati. He can run. He can throw in funny body angles. That's painting a giant bullseye on Bo's back in a sport that we're all consumed with a position, quarterback position, that we're even more consumed with. To put him into that category, do you see it? Do you see that happening? Do you see the potential for it where you're saying, okay, here are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL in no particular order. Hey, there's Lamar, there's Mahomes, there's Josh Allen, there's Joe Burrow, and there's Bo Nix, ahead of Jaden Daniels and Jordan Love and Brock Purdy and Matthew Stafford and all these other guys.
Yeah, I could see that.
You can?
Yeah. I mean, do you know what he did last year? I mean, that was a historically good year for Bo as a rookie. And it got overshadowed by Jaden Daniels. But you look at his stats, and that was stinking impressive, right? So that was year one. Now we'll see what it looks like and how he improves and those types of things if he can get to that level. But certainly, I think he's on the path to being that type of quarterback. I think, if you look at like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson after year one, do you think, they were having this conversation about them? If their coach said that and they had good rookie years, like, okay, well, they still got to pass up this guy, that guy, this guy. Well, they improved and they got better. And now they're in that conversation every single year.
Yeah, but how many rookie quarterbacks after their first year, save for what Mahomes did in his first full year starting, how many of those, if that player's coach came out and said what Sean said, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I can see that? Or you'd be like, come on, coach is tripping.
Well, maybe a C.J. Stroud last year, because he had such a good year. But here's the thing. Is he a top 5? Will he be a top 8? I mean, any given week someone could look like the best quarterback, in the NFL over a 2 or 3 week period. So, if you're a top 8, top 9 quarterback, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, you're pretty dang good. And I don't, I think some people, like Kliss, he didn't like some of the comments from Sean. He's more old school approach. I don't think all of a sudden, Sean making and saying these things is going to make Bo Nix be a different quarterback. And Bo Nix is thinking about, I got to do more because I want to be a top 4 or top 5 quarterback. I think if that was the case, if he didn't have the mental makeup to be able to handle these things, I don't think Sean would have said it, right? He knows Bo. And we saw Bo last year have some struggles, bounce back. So I don't think the moment's too big for him. I don't think Sean saying that he's going to be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league is going to be too much for him to handle. Now he's going to be trying to do too much out here. So I'm not overly concerned about those things. Bo has a makeup that, he can handle all of these things. So I don't mind the comments. And do I think Bo can get to be that type of quarterback? Certainly. Yes, I do.
Well, we've been trending towards this, but let's completely rip the Band-Aid off now because it's obvious when you make a comment like that. Sean thinks he's got his next Drew Brees. Out and out, flat out. This isn't, hey, I see. I know, but I say that, Stoke. I say that in a completely, like, really, I'm excited, positive. If you're Broncos country, you should feel really good about this because while he always talked about Bo's attributes, and we were left to say, boy, some of the things he talks about sure seems like some of the characteristics of Drew Brees. Sean would never go there. But come on now. It's becoming obvious, and Sean's having more and more of a difficult time just, shying away from it. He's saying this. When you say something like this, you're saying, yes, I believe I have my next Drew Brees, which I think is awesome. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off and just celebrate this as Bronco fans that Sean Payton believes
he.
What does it mean?
Yes.
He had all this unbelievable success with Drew Brees for years in New Orleans, and he thinks he's primed to have it again for the next 10 years with Bo.
Do you know what it says to me,
That's
Mike?
like party time. Let's go.
Mike, you're funny. Every couple of weeks you say this. But you know what it says to me? It says to me that he thinks he has a great quarterback. He's got a young quarterback that has the potential to be a great quarterback. That's all. That's all. I'm not trying to compare Bo to Drew Brees. He thinks he's had one great quarterback, and he thinks he's got another one. Does he think he's going to be as good as Drew Brees or at that level? I mean, we got to remember who Drew Brees was. Put a little bit more respect on Drew Brees. I mean, all-time passing leader still, right? Or did Brady break that record? Is he still the passing yards leader, Drew Brees, or did Brady break it? I don't even know. But anyway, he's one of the best to ever throw the football, and so I don't know, man. I don't think Sean is saying when he says that he's going to be a top 4 or 5 quarterback that he has his next Drew Brees. I think Sean loves Bo Nix. I think he loves his potential. Thinks he's excited about him. I think he feels like he's got his next great quarterback.
So we all can
see.
We can all see the characteristics from day one that remind us of Drew Brees. Remember, we had Joel Klatt. I'll give Joel Klatt credit. He was the first one. He came on last year with us and 2 years ago, and he said, hey, I look at Bo Nix, and I can see why Sean looks at Bo and sees a lot of Drew. So when you start putting all that together, you start following all the breadcrumbs, and then you finish it off with that big, bold, I think Bo could be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL within 2 years. Come on, it's not a leap to say. He says he thinks he's got another Drew Brees, right down to the way that Drew played.
They played
not another great
different games, total different games. Yeah.
How?
Drew Brees wasn't as mobile. Bo makes more plays out of the pocket.
Drew was pretty mobile early in his career.
No,
he could move.
Not Bo Nix mobile.
He wasn't a statue. He wasn't a statue out there.
I understand that, but he's not as mobile as Bo Nix. So I think they're two different quarterbacks. Just because they both can hang in the pocket and make throws, Bo's different. Bo's different than Drew Brees. I think that's low hanging fruit to continue to say. Sean believes that he's got his next Drew Brees. I don't like it. You keep wanting to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Well, I think I got free license to do it today, the day after he just came out and said, yeah, I think the Broncos can win a Super Bowl this year. You know what? I'm going to run with that.
Just because he said that he thinks he can be a top 4 or 5 quarterback, how does that translate to he's got his next Drew Brees?
I don't think it's that hard.